Is day 193 of From Here to Jerusalem. I am in Arbing, and Arbing is the home place of. Do we remember when I came over to across the border and I found the Jerusalem Way stickers? Arbing is the place where Johannes Aschauer lives. So I stayed with the family of the other Johannes, Johannes Schwartz, the priest who lives in. Oh, I better put that off. Who lives in. Put off the sound. Very good. Who lives in Italy as a hermit, and then I met in the graveyard with Joe. I met. Who did we meet again? We met Otto Clare, one of the 3 pilgrims that went to Jerusalem in 2010. David and Johannes were part of that as well. And he had put me in touch with Johannes Aschauer, who runs more or less, has the Jerusalem Way organization. He's been working very hard on establishing a route from Santiago de Compostela all the way to Jerusalem. Now, and this is the pilgrims. How would you call it? It's a shed. And up there, okay, I'm not standing the right way. Up here, I'm looking at the thing up there, you can sleep. There is enough space for about 10, 12 people, and there are mattresses up there, and you roll out your sleeping bag, and yeah, so I had a very special time in Puchenau with Johannes Schwartz's parents. I got on with his mom like a house on fire, and his sister is wonderful, his younger sister, Susie, and her husband Liam did work on the pack. I have to show you that as well. I'll do that in a little. So it was all go. Liam, the brother-in-law, he gave me a winter coat. I am now going to be warm up to minus 25 degrees or something. Like I'm not planning on getting that cold. And he vacuum packed the coat for me so that I won't have to use it I won't have to open it, and it's really compact until it actually gets cold. But then I had to leave so it's been wonderful, and it's been tough. I haven't talked about this yet, but Linz, of course, was the place where Hitler grew up. And I went with Johannes's mother to Linz, and we had a wonderful, wonderful day. And it kept being in the back of my head, like, this area of Austria and Germany, really from Nuremberg onwards, is the reason why people like me never came to Germany and Austria. This trip is about confronting my prejudices. So I did come, and I looked at the old castle, and I've been walking along the Limes, and I've been, talking about the Romans and how wonderful all of that is, and it is fantastic. But you can't disregard modern history. So the day after Linz, you head in the direction of Mauthausen, and so it took me a little bit longer. That's the door I'll hang against here. And 2 days ago I went to Mauthausen. I did make a small video there. I haven't posted it because I think that I was so distraught that it needs context. So I'll post that in a few days when I have Wi-Fi. I haven't had Wi-Fi now for a few days, so I've had no way of backing up stuff. And I think it needs a bit more than just me being in tears at the Dutch memorial site in Mauthausen. um, yeah, I walked the first day that I went from Puchenau. I went to Linz and then on to a small place just underneath Goosen St. Georg, St. Georg Goosen. Goosen had three camps, which were like extra camps outside of the Mauthausen complex. And all of it was for industry. It was for stone, and they created an entire underground bunker system, tunnels where they worked on the Messerschmitt airplanes. Like Mauthausen was difficult for many reasons, not just because it was the first concentration camp, um, and not just for the final solution, like the test that they did with Cyclone B and stuff. It's the first time I was in a concentration camp, and yeah, and I'm here to learn not to hate people, not to have ideas about people without context. But there are some issues there for me because and it actually it ended up had nothing to do with Austrian people, which makes it even more complex. But so I won't be talking about that yet because I need to think about it a little bit more so that I don't say things that aren't true for me. But it was really, really good for me to then be able to go back to the Schwarzes in Puchenau and spend another day or two there to kind of digest this whole thing. So I only left there yesterday. Um, Mama, Mama Schwartz brought me to back to Mauthausen, which is on the other side of Mauthausen. It's on the Danube again, and it was really hard to say goodbye to her. Like she's been feeding me and driving me around. She showed me around Linz. We had like the day in Linz. We ate so much cake. Like, oh my God, Austria and cake. What can I say? If Tina, if you're watching this, we have to go. You have to come. Like you have to come, or we have to come back to Austria and just spend time eating cake. It was amazing. She showed me some of the 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 places where you have views over Linz and over the Danube. It was beautiful. It was beautiful, and they were so kind to me. So there you go. There's your clash. Like good people, bad people, and of course, even for Father Johannes to have said to me, "Go stay with my family." He must have known because we talked about this that I would go past over this part of the route and that this would be confrontational for me. So it was very, very generous of him to offer me to stay with his family, to take time, uh, and to get to know his family and their history. And I had on the yesterday morning, I had a long chat still with his youngest sister, and what the impact is of you know the Second World War is now we're heading up to 80 years ago, and what the impact is for the new generation. If it's a little bit like, uh, so the context for me now is as well like, what if somebody said to my daughter, oh, your great grandfather was in prison for war crimes, which he incidentally, not war crimes, but for collaborating with the Germans, which was also a really complicated story because yes, he did collaborate with the Germans, and yes, he went to jail for it. But there is another side to that story as well. He had a family of 6 children. He had a wife and 6 children, and he had young men that were his sons that were of the right age to be brought to Germany to work in the factories. And people got killed if they didn't cooperate, and who were going to look after the family. And then there is the other side where there are stories of him bringing children away out of the city to into safety. So it's I've really, really been looking at the contradictions and what this means in the personal histories, and it's been so. But I've left. I will sit on it and I will talk about it. I will post that video at some stage because I think it shows very much what happens in a reaction when you're in a reactionary mode. Then yesterday I went on. We drove. Mama Schwartz drove me down back to Mauthausen, which is a lovely. I arrived back in Mauthausen. It was like, oh yeah, there was a Limes statue of Roman on the wrong side of, and incidentally on the wrong side of the Danube. This is where the Romans were. This is the history of it, and there were still roses in bloom. I mean, the weather has been amazing. You can see there is like mist everywhere. Every morning, the mist comes up. The nebel comes up from the river, and it's engulfed in everything is in white. You can't see anything. And then as the day goes on, it lifts, and the weather has been astonishingly beautiful. It didn't get to the 25 degrees that they said it would. However, it was still around 19 degrees, which is amazing. I was just walking in my summer dress along the road with a bag which is now really too heavy, because not only did I get a winter coat which weighs 1.3 kilos, I was also given the brother-in-law made me a room. He saw my Nordic tattoo, which of course is my Viking compass, which makes sure that no matter where I go, I will always return home safely, or that's what we hope. And he made me a room for strength. Strength and what is the other one? I'll think about it. I'll think of it. But power, strength, and safety. Oh yeah. So Schutz, protection. So it's a powerful protection room. I'm very, very grateful for it, because you should take whatever help you can get. All prayers, all well wishes, all of it. It all helps. And then Mama Schwartz gave me a little thing that you can stitch into your clothes, which is protection of Mary and Jesus and Joseph and the family, and so I'm super protected now. And Joe had also given me a small cross, which I've also hung with my other bangles around my neck. So I'm in a good place. I'm in a good place. But it was very sad to watch her drive away, because I'm just very grateful. I feel very, very, very grateful. And then it was time to, walk along the Danube into the mist towards Arbing. Now, Arbing is a little bit away from the Danube, and Ashar knew that I was coming, and he was very busy yesterday, so he could only come and pick me up at 6, which was fine because I left late. I didn't leave before midday, and I've walked. I was a little bit distracted, and I took the wrong route a few times, so I got to see a little bit more than I expected. It was a very long road. I think in the end I walked 20 kilometers. I was in Arbing in front of the church at around just after 5, and he came at 6. So it was very sweaty. So I dried up, I got myself warm, and the church was dark. So I'll go get my first Jerusalem Way stamp there now today when I leave here. And it was. I spent the day kind of getting my head around that. Now I'm really. I had kind of focused on going to Johannes's family, and now having met Johannes Aschauer, I realized that now it's really begun. So, oh my God, 193 days it took me to really get into the pilgrimage, which is like normally the time when people finish their pilgrimages, when they go to Santiago de Compostela. That'll tell you how it changes if you go wider and you go further. It was interesting as well. Ashauer, we had a long chat, of course. He took me to local pizzeria run by a Turkish guy, and he, of course, knows that as well that this man is very much occupied with the way to Jerusalem. I had a beer. He treated me to dinner, which was very kind. Then we went back to the house, and he showed me the shed, which he built. He built all of it, like it's an old shed, but he did it up himself, and it's for pilgrims. So if you're a pilgrim and you head to Arbing, you should come and you should look him up, jerusalemway.org, and give him a call, and come and meet him. His big thing, and I think, given where we are, it's really understandable. His big thing was walking a pilgrimage for peace. For me personally, that is too big a goal. I do think it's really important that pilgrims head in those directions, because the more we know about the other, those people that we fear so much, or the places that we fear and the religions that we fear, the more personal it becomes, the less dangerous it becomes, the more understanding we have. So it's important to walk those ways. The aim of peace is too big for me. I cannot be held, I cannot have that feeling that I'm responsible for the world becoming a better place. For me personally, it is that we all need to search for ourselves individually to become better people, and then in that context, altogether, we might be able to create peace. Good and evil, what can I say? Apparently, it's really out there. It's bizarre to kind of look at these things. We had he told me some lovely stories. He was out in Turkey only a few weeks ago with a group of pilgrims. Oh, and the other thing is, I'm not alone. There are other pilgrims on the way. Now, of course, the Jerusalem way is not the only way to Jerusalem. We have to give Jerusalem Way organization kudos, because it's been working very hard to solidify the routes. The route that they've set out goes south, which is interesting, of course, because we're heading into winter. That would mean that if I would choose after Beograd to head, so I'm staying on the Danube anyway for now. Low is better, I'll be in Vienna maybe in 1.5 week, 10 days, something like that. It's only 200 kilometers or left. So 8 days, 8 to 10, 12 days, depending on how fast I go. Look at with the Schwarzes, like I didn't walk more than 15 kilometers. There was a day I only walked 10, which is all fine, but it means I'm slow. Slow is okay. A pilgrim shouldn't go too fast. I don't feel time pressure apart from the seasons, but it's good because you have time then to really digest what is happening. I'm not saying that everybody should do that, but I can highly recommend it. So, yeah, he suggests there is, of course, also the Templar Way, which was by a guy called, is his name? Oh, no, I don't know his name. I think it's Wilson, but I'm not sure. Which is also interesting, but it deals with the Crusades. I've always wanted to go to Istanbul. The Jerusalem Way does not include Istanbul. So I'm kind of torn, and I'm thinking the road will show itself. Like I was brought here as well. I didn't think I would actually meet Ashauer when I set out, because I wasn't that interested, and because I'm always very much doing my own thing, and I carry the harp, so I don't do stages in the same way. But I have to give him some kudos here, because he set out those stages in nothing more than 30 kilometers, which is very clever. It's very clever, and he works very hard on it. That's very admirable, because he really believes it's important. And his experiences on the road are amazing. And of course, for him, it's also amazing to see all those pilgrims. I'm pilgrim number 20, sleeping in the shed. I mean, how amazing is that? So he went to work early this morning. He left me instant coffee and a kettle. I had electricity. I had a shower last night. I played him some music, um, and I look forward to being in touch with him over time and following parts of the route that he has set out, that they've set out, that he's still working on. Um, Meeting some of the people that they have met, and I totally take his point. He was saying, that it can be very hard, and that it's really nice to know that people have gone before you and that there's people behind you as well, that there are points of recognition, that if you don't know where to go, you know that people have been there. When you see those stickers, you know somebody has been there, and that means that there's also people there who are willing to help. So it's a good thing. Now, I'll be climbing a little bit because there is no easy road out of here. It's not much. I looked it up. I think it's only 200 meters, so it's fine. I'll be leaving now soon. I'll be loading this up and then heading out. Next place is on the Danube again. And there is an old monastery there, and they host groups and individuals. I have to call them. It's something like 22 euros if nobody picks me up along the road. Then that's where I'll stay. Geese, I think it is. Geese, and I don't know. It used to be an old Franciscan monastery, but it was shut down in the 18th century. And they do like spiritual retreats and things like that. If they don't have a space, if they're not open, then I will consider camping out tonight. The pack is really heavy now. It's really heavy. Joe gave me a new knife, which was really, really good, but it's heavy. The winter coat is another 1.3 kilos. I'd only just taken out things. I can carry it if I'm slow, but like, how long am I going to go do this? It needs to turn cold then. I'm not asking for cold, by the way, St. James, just so we're clear on this. But I have to deal with this fear. I need to be prepared, and yet I need to deal with the fear of what lies ahead. So that's really my update. It's been amazing. I made it through a really hard part with lots of help, lots of love, lots of wonderful things. The code on the back says China because Liam actually works in the those ski jumping in the ski jumping arena, and he was he worked at the Chinese Winter Olympics. So I've got a code which says China on the back, but it's good and hot. And then he worked also on the pack. So one of the things that I had issues with were the straps. Remember, they're always like dark green. I'll show you now. They're always dark green. All of it is dark green. And he replaced some of the straps with, for these, what you have, like for these awnings, you can put the awning out and in with it, and it'll hold. It'll be really good. I do need to check one more thing, and then I'm going to go head out. I'm going to upload this, drink my coffee, and then it's time to go, head into the mist, and hope that it clears up by the time I head up the hill. I'm going to go see the church, get my stamp, and thank you very much for being here. It's unbelievable. Austria, next bigger place will be Melk, Ibs, Melk, and then I'll be closing in on Vienna. So wish me luck. It is good to be here. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling strong. I'm feeling loved. I know I can call people if I really get into trouble. I'll have help to get home if I need to. So I feel that helps. It actually really helps. money is an issue. Germany was very expensive. I really, the sooner I get into the Balkan, the sooner it gets cheaper, the better it is. But I'm thinking of actually asking somebody to help me with that as well. Fjallraven hasn't gotten back to me yet. I've applied for some help from Fjallraven with my gear, and fingers crossed. Like I could, the frame, the pack is too heavy for the frame. I don't know. Listen, if I'm on the right road, doing the right thing, all will have its solution. It will all be fine. On that note, day 193 from here to Jerusalem. I can't believe I'm out here for this long and still sane. I've never been out and away from home for this long. Shed was amazing. He was worried that I'd be too cold. Fine. I remember the sleeping bag I got in Doorn in the Netherlands. Very cozy. Very, very cozy. Amazing. Yeah, and we're moving on. Moving out. Moving on. Jerusalem, here we come. Thank you very much, of course, for being here, being part of this journey, watching the videos, sharing them, liking them, all those things that help with all those things that I don't understand. And yeah, hopefully see you soon. Day 193. Have a lovely day.